I'm gonna be honest with you. I had completely given up. Yeah, yeah, the white flag was a waving. All these millionaire productivity gurus. I gotta buy all the apps to make lists. I gotta buy all the apps to take notes. I gotta buy all the apps to make lists on which notes I'm gonna use to make my lists. This is too complicated. My mother used to tell me that inspiration oftentimes comes from the most unlikely source. So I went looking for help with my productivity problem in the place that you would never expect. And as it turns out, my mom was a very smart lady, and she was right, and I found it. According to the Pokédex, Snorlax is, and I quote, very lazy. Period. Just very lazy. That's a little rude. The person who wrote this Pokédex entry is the lazy one to hear, but I digress. Here's the thing. Snorlax can learn virtually every move in the Pokemon games. They can swim, shoot lightning, cause earthquakes. They can shoot ice beams. They use psychic powers. The list is never ending. You're trying to tell me that Snorlax can learn all of this stuff and still manage to sleep a month at a time? No. Snorlax is not lazy, my friends. Snorlax is the pinnacle of productivity. Snorlax is the most productive Pokemon out there. There is an obvious cultural push to the idea that sitting down, resting, is actually just being lazy, right? If you're not up there picking yourself up by your bootstraps and getting to work, then you must not be doing anything. Wrong. Not true. Incorrect. The move rest is literally what allows Snorlax to stay in the fight for longer periods of time. It's what allows him to not be lazy. It lets him battle forever. That's the whole point. You have Snorlax and you have Snorlax for the rest of your days. Like Bilbo Baggins and his book, you know? Just always there. Hyper Beam literally requires a turn of rest for it to function. The rest periods for Snorlax is exactly why Snorlax doesn't get burned out. Because if you continuously are running on empty, then you're never gonna be able to perform when it actually matters. You're just gonna be on an empty tank. You know who's never on an empty tank? Snorlax. There's a connection there. Snorlax never has an empty tank, man. So the takeaway here is that resting is not about being lazy. Resting is about recharging. Resting is used to prevent burnout, and it's important. Snorlax has two modes, okay? Complete stillness and utter destruction. Those are the two. There's nothing in between. He's either sleeping or he's body slamming his enemies out of existence. Snorlax is all about energy conservation, right? He conserves his energy, and then when it comes down to the moment that he needs to act, boom, he acts in spectacular fashion. Most people think that you need to be productive for the entire day, right? As if the day is just one block. But the truth, we all know that the most productive that you have ever been is 8 minutes before the entire paper is due and you haven't started. That is when magic happens. And that, my friends, is what Snorlax does better than anyone. So instead of grinding all day long, try working really hard for short bursts at a time. I have this thing right here. This is my timer. I would probably cease to exist if I didn't have this thing. This is a visual timer that I will set for like 30 minutes. So it shows me how much time there is. This is what I use to make sure when that goes in, I'm working while this is red. But the moment it's done, I take a break, I rest, I relax, I pull a Snorlax. I might literally go to sleep. I mean, who knows? But once it's done, I fully recharge. I fully get my strength back. It's really important. It's really important to do that because then you won't get burned out. And then you do the entire thing over again and it just works. Snorlax does not move unless it is absolutely mandatory to do so. Why force anything when you don't have to? The path of least resistance, literally. And if you want him to move, you don't push him, you don't yell at him, you play the pokey flute, you play beautiful music. He starts hearing that pokey flute and he's like, yeah, let's go. time to get up, time to go. And he loves it. It is just smoothness. That's it. So the takeaway here is that if you're stuck on a problem and you want to handle it the Snorlax way, don't force it. Instead of taking 2 steps forward, take a step back and just breathe. Chill out, relax. The worst thing that you can do is continue to push forward when you are already exhausted. Nothing good is gonna happen after that point. It's just not. You gotta take a step back and freaking relax. Walk away, let your brain and your body reset, let yourself recharge, and then try again. Come back with fresh energy. Poke Flute, optional. Why do you think it is that in the shower is when we all have our best ideas? It's because when you let your brain breathe and just process and do stuff, that is when the magic happens. That's when the breakthroughs happen. So just to recap really quick, rest is not about being lazy, okay? Rest is the power up. Rest is what gives you the strength to then move forward and be productive, working in short bursts. The Pomodoro technique was literally made by a Snorlax for a Snorlax, and for us as well, I guess. If something isn't working, take a step back from it, okay? Don't keep pushing at it, all right? You're not gonna get anywhere. Breathe, chill out, regroup, let your mind process, and then you'll get somewhere. And if Snorlax can do it, then you and I will have absolutely no problem doing it as well. I promise. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I'm gonna go take a nap now. I'm feeling very tired. I think talking about Snorlax has really, maybe I should be appreciating my naps a little bit more than I do. So I'm gonna go do that. Don't forget that you matter, and I will see you all in the next one. Okay, goodbye. See ya.